Hello and namaste. Hi, my name is Sumit Arora and I welcome you to this teacher's orientation for the Money Matters curriculum. So, if you are a teacher from a school, CBSE, State Board, ICSE Board, IB, or any school of any board, and you are here to understand how to teach the Money Matters curriculum to your students, this video is for you. That doesn't mean that you do not know how to teach. This just means is to understand and become aware of what has been the author's recommendations for using this curriculum. Yes, as teachers, you are already trained. You are a B.Ed, M.Ed, or qualified teacher so as to teach the students. And we are aware that you are aware and you use very wonderfully the pedagogies of experiential education, active learning, and you are using age appropriate technique and tools in your day to day teaching. And this subject is no different. But yes, the approach of this subject, if we become aware of, we would be able to do justice to what the desired outcomes are for the student from this curriculum. So let's begin this journey. And to begin, I'm going to start off with a quick question, a quick understanding of what happens in your real world. So, you must be a teacher from language and social studies, or you might be a maths and a commerce teacher, or a science and an IT teacher, or a sports teacher, or some other field, right? So, if you are a language and a social studies teacher, this is where you are, right? Science and IT. And if you're a language and a social studies teacher, this is the angle where you would point to, and so on. Now, why I'm talking about these subjects? Because traditionally, financial literacy, the money matters, has always been included in some parts in all these subjects. And if not very vocally, subtly, isn't it? Especially in maths. You have a lot of calculation of things that you do using maths, right? In language, many a poems, prose has a lot of uh, work which is done around commerce, money, etc., etc. Commerce, so definitely yes, you do it. Accounting, taxation, and many other stuff. Science and IT, yeah, a low key for money, but yes, we always talk about the inventions and discoveries which really help people and how they bring the cost down, they make it more efficient and effective. And sports, well, who doesn't talk about money and sports nowadays? From IPL to Pro Kabaddi to all sports, we know that money is somewhere related to it. And just not that, in all our extracurricular activities, like when I was a school going kid, we used to get a card which used to say, go and do some work and earn money. It is to be called as Khari Kamai. Yeah, from that to the Diwali stall where you put in a lemon soda stall or something like this, a lucky draw stall where you play games and you calculate how much you invested and how much you earned back, or the bazaar where you go to buy certain vegetables and fruits and come back and then sell it and you figure out profit, cost of buying, cost of selling, and how much money did you make. And all of it has always been included traditionally. And I say that um, with regards and gratitude to the curriculum and to the excitement and the energy of the teachers, that they always try to connect subjects to the real world, and with money a little not, based on what belief system the teachers have. So let me from here graduate into understanding what belief system we have. right? So one of the belief systems is we should fulfill all our desires, live life wholesome, not at all worry about money. Money is just a mean to reach there. So if that is true, you are here at the bottom of the screen. Yes, from here on this continuum towards the top of the screen is the other end. And the other end is we should spend money only on our needs, right? So from the top of the screen, that is to spend only on our needs, if that is where you are on the top here, to the bottom, if we should fulfill all our desires, where on the continuum do you, where in the continuum do you stand? Where are you? And that tells us something about our beliefs. And we have been brought up various generations with various thoughts about money. There's one more very interesting belief about money which I want to bring to you. One of the belief of money is nothing is more important than money. Yeah, money is the most important essential thing. There's a saying as well, ना बाप बड़ा ना भैया सबसे बड़ा रुपया. Heard of that? Yeah. So neither the brother nor the dad, the most important is money. And from here in the bottom of the continuum to the top, when you say is money is the biggest evil. So you hate money. You say nothing about money. I don't talk, I don't touch money, and so on. Right? So where in the continuum are you? Of course, many of you must have chose balance in between. And yes, we get into different aspects of it based on situations too. And these belief systems are one of the important elements that we address in our curriculum. And we should. Why shouldn't we? We should invite our students to look at various belief systems about money, to look at how their relationship is with money. And for that, it's equally important for us to test our belief system as well, isn't it? Let's take this further. Now, from belief systems to what did we actually do, or what has been our practice about money? So, remember the first salary or the first income that you received? Yeah, whenever you got your first job or you did your first business, and what was that income that you got? And what did you do with it? Right? I'm going to put forward four options. And those days, and what did you really do? I gave away all my money, my income to my parents. The first money, I just kind of gifted them. I put them in their feet, as we call it. उनके चरणों में रख दिए. Or if you spent all your money, your first salary, you said, I wanted to buy an iPhone, and I bought an iPhone from my salary. I wanted it all my life. My parents were not getting it. So when I got my first salary, I did that. Or you went to a vacation or party or whatever. Yeah. Third, I saved my entire salary, put it into an FD or put it into a saving account, or kept it safe. Yeah, did not put it anywhere. Put it in the cupboard, cash in an envelope, just to remember this is my first salary. A fourth could be that I invested my entire salary. That is, I put them into gold. I put that money into into buying some mutual funds, shares, or something like that. Right? And yes, you must have partly done each of it. That also is true. You must have given it to your parents, and the parents said thank you, and they returned it back to you. Bole beta ye tera money hai. This is your money. Do what you wish to do. Or they add just few more bucks to it and said round figure ye tere liye. Or they put it in the bank, said we'll make a FD for you from this. So it went to your parents, and parents put it into an FD. So that is how we have worked with money, and there might be more options to it. Yes, if there are, do let me know in the comments. What else did you do with your first salary? Yes. So that's our behavior. From beliefs to behavior is what in our curriculum we would like to address as well. So addressing beliefs, actions, and then habits. This would help build a better, wise, money wise student. So let's take this a bit further from a first salary to another thing. And that is, what all do we do with money? right? There are five small pictures on your screen on the top. Any guesses? What do these pictures mean? They talk about five important words, which are five pillars about, right? From the first one, which has this hand and some money falling to the hand, it is earning. The second is piggy bank. Yeah, we all know it's saving. The third, it shows a plant, a money plant. So that's growing, that's investing. And then you are giving 1 rupee or $1 or one note to somebody else, that's spending. And the last is a gear mechanism, that's systems. So these are the five important pillars on which this curriculum is based. What all do we do with money? We earn money, we save money, we invest money, we spend money, and there is a money system where how the money flows. Understanding these five pillars is equally important. And traditionally, in our Indian culture, many a times we have been focusing more on, say, how not to spend or how to save. So saving and spending has been focused a lot. It's save money, save for a rainy day, put it in the piggy bank, save money, don't bring it out, don't talk about money, put it where it is, don't tell how much money you have. All those things have gone through conditioning about money. Yeah, very similarly about spending. There's a very favorite thing. पैसे पेड़ पे लगते हैं क्या? Does money grow on trees or what? So don't spend so much money. और one more very favorite is चादर के हिसाब से पाँव फैलाओ. Yeah, so you should spread your legs as per the the chadar you have, uh, the whatever you have. So that is something which we talk about as money things that have come up, and the focus has been on those pillars more. In this curriculum, we have tried to balance the focus on all of these five pillars so that our child gets a balanced education about these five pillars. Not only on systems, many curriculums I've seen we focus more on systems, and it really doesn't help. Systems keep changing every year, every few years. So, systems only isn't making the child money wise. It will make him a good money operator, but not money wise. So let's look at what earning means. So that's the definition of earning, right? The definition says the process of obtaining money through some work, services, or other means is money. And we really help child understand in our curriculum is the difference between earning money and making money, if I may say. Earning money is through ethical and legal ways, and making money is through all other ways. And that's one of the important principles about money which we would like to inculcate in our child, isn't it? We don't want a child to go and settle abroad to avoid Indian banks and Indian agencies. Okay, so next, saving. What is saving? So, saving is how you set aside a portion of the income for your future goals. And here is very important, future use or goals. So, what use you have in mind? What goals do you have in mind? For that, you want to save money. And this has always been the way the previous generations have worked till the EMI came into picture. You know what is an EMI? EMI. So now you do not have to have money to spend it. You go spend it and you pay later. So you go on a travel trip wherever you wish to, you buy a ticket on a credit card and you set it onto an EMI, and then you can pay it in the next 10 months. So after your vacation is over, till 1 year, you can keep paying it in small, small amounts. Previously, it was the other way around. I planned that I want to go on a trip in December, and so I keep saving, saving, saving till December, and then I go on a trip. Now, that world has changed. Commerce economy is allowing you to go spend early. Um, our curriculum should talk about the advantages and disadvantages of both, isn't it? And that's what we do in our curriculum for our students. Let's look at the third, investing. And this one is a very critical element which comes along with a lot of fear through our thoughts. That whenever we use money for generating more income or profit, that is increasing our money, when we want our money to work for us, It sounds like, oh, you're using money to make money, but that must be risky and that is not good. And all these dilemmas which come along with it should be addressed. And that's what we look at. How much should I invest and how much should I save? And how can I handle risk and how may I mitigate? And those are few elements that we look at even in this, but age appropriately. And yeah, that must be a question in your mind. My students are so small. How do you teach them investing? No, we don't unnecessary bulldoze students with higher concepts. But nowadays, students are more aware, and we have to be updated with it as well. Yeah. Then comes spending. And in spending is the use of money to purchase or services. And which goods and services are needs and which are desires is one of those high profile dramas which happen in the family. And we try and make it easy for the parents, the kids, and the teachers to define them together in the part of spending. And last but not the least is systems and understanding the procedures, process, tools, which really helps us manage our money well in the present and the future, record data, do transactions better so that we fill in our taxes if we have to. And if we don't have to, how do we really manage our money without them is important. So these are the five important pillars about money. Once we are aware of these five important pillars of money, my thought is we should understand what have we been doing with money, right? Practical, definitely, yes, isn't it? So the practical part of it. You earn, say, 100 rupees. So how much do you save? How much do you invest? And how much do you spend? Is my question. And I'm going to give you three options. The first option here is if you earn 100 rupees, you save 33 rupees, you invest 33 rupees, and you spend 34 rupees. Out of that, 25 rupees you spend on needs and 9 on desire. So, in percentage terms, it shows like this. So, this is option one of whatever your salary is, whatever your right, your income. Yeah. So option two, let me show you option two. Option two is this. You have X amount of salary, say rupees 100. You spend 25% in saving, you put 25% in investing, and 50% in spending, 25% in needs and 25% in desire, or somewhat nearby. And the last is you have 100 rupees, so you save 25%, you invest 50%, and in your needs and desires, it's only 25%. Oh, how do I do that? Only 25%. And that do you spend on desires, not at all on needs. Is it really possible? If that is the thought coming to you, we'll talk about the examples. But I'll give you a second to think about. Option A, B, and C, which is closest to you. You could put that in if you wish to. Yeah. And then we'll see a little bit more about it. Okay, time's up. So if you are A, that means what? That means you're spending 33, 33, and 33 equally divided. That means you have enough salary and all your needs and desires are getting fulfilled in one third of your income. And you don't have enough money saved for your goals. So you're putting a lot of money in saving and you're putting equal money in investing for the future where your money should make more money. So, kind of, you're in a good position. You might be the, mm, you might be having a smaller family, or you have a large amount of money, or you have multiple earners and you're using your money, some part of it here for needs and some part for desires. And there's another earner in the family who's also contributing to your family's income. That could be true. If you're on blue, that is, you're spending a 50% on your needs and desires, or even more, say 60%, 70%, 80%, 90% on needs and desires. Option two, from 50 to 90, or even 100% sometimes. And needs and desires ratio might be even different. That means you could be the sole earner on the family, and you have the entire family's responsibility to feed them, to provide for them, and hence a lot of your money is being spent there. Um, and that could be true. And you could have a big family, and hence even your percentage of 25% in investment and saving is very, and that could be one of the things. And third, if you are in the green zone, you could be those Gen Z people today who have started earning, living with family, then they do not have to spend anything or contribute back to the family, and the family is taking care of it. So needs zero percent spending. Desires, I spend whatever I wish to, and I'm smart enough. I'm investing 50% of my money in investment for future because I want to retire before 30 or 40 or whatever age, and so I'm investing a lot of money for my future, and 25% I'm saving just in case for my recent goals of the next 2 months or something like this, or just keeping some money safe in hand if in case something happens. Interesting, isn't it? So, is there a standard formula? Well, there are, but that doesn't help. You have to look at your family, your situation, your earning, what are your priorities, and decide how much percentage of money should you put where, right? Needs are the primary thing that you have to address if you're the sole earner of the family. Yeah. If not, then well, then you have some freedom because somebody else is taking care of your needs. So you could really look at, should I spend more on desires, or should I spend more on investment, or should I save? Save. Now that has been our belief. We should save money, save money. And where do we save money? We save a lot of money in, say, saving account or a fixed deposit. That's one of the things of saving. Putting money in gold is not saving per se. Yeah? It is investment. That's what we consider gold as investment. But not gold ornaments. Oh my God, what are you saying? Yeah, if you use gold ornaments and you use them, you wear them, and you are moving around with it, and you are never going to sell it unless otherwise someday something happens to my life or to us financially, then that is not considered as investment. Investment is something which should make you money, right? And gold ornaments versus a gold biscuit or a gold block or gold bonds are better investments than gold ornaments. And we'll talk about it some other day in some other webinar. Yeah. So coming back to investment, to saving, how much money should I save? That's a very important question. And I know of people who say as much as, and that's not really a fair answer of as much as possible, isn't it? As much of as possible is what? It's like ASAP, as soon as possible, or as slow as possible. It really doesn't help, right? So the question here is, how long should I keep saving, and how much, and when should I stop saving? Now, we doing for certain goals, yes, and for certain risks. And let me take a minute of time to talk about this here. We just talked about that everything is available on EMI, and many a times it is available on 0% EMI or at a very nominal price. And if you're okay to spend money and pay back as interests, then you really don't have to save for your goals. Like we used to earlier save money for holidays, save money for buying a TV, save money to buy a scooter or a car or a bike, save money to celebrate a birthday. So all these things are nowadays available in the form of consume first, pay later. What is advantage and disadvantages we'll see in our curriculum. But if that is a goal, you already can do without saving. Though I don't suggest that you do it that way, but then the saving amount could be reduced if you're really looking at it. Then people say, no, 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 saving is for crisis. Some bad day in our life, something happens to our health, something happens, then what do we do? Oh, for health, you have health insurance. So wouldn't you want to subscribe to health insurance and keep paying an EMI kind of sort of money to the insurance agents, and they can pay you when you need money? Oh, no, not that. But for marriage, well, yes, you can save money for marriage. And if it is very nearby, then you can save. It is a bit far, 5 years, 10 years far. You may want to invest so that the money grows. And whatever you save, more than that, you get to spend for your marriage. That could be one of the ways to invest, maybe, and save less. So, am I saying don't save? No, no, no. I'm not saying don't save. I'll come to that. Where you save. Remember, COVID happened, and in COVID times, our income went haywire. Yeah, somebody who was earning a lakh of rupees had 50,000, rupees coming in per month. And for a few months, there was no money coming in, and spending was happening a little less, but it was, or in fact, a little more also for some people. Now, how long did COVID last, and how many months did our income fluctuate, and when did we become stable again? Is a very important learning this generation has. This happened in 2020, I believe, right? And for at least 6 months, everything was haywire in India, and maybe a year. And so something like this or something smaller happens. And if I am not able to earn money, but I want to sustain my lifestyle cost, my family, how much money will I need? And that's a question that you should ask. If my family expenses are to the tune of, say, a lakh of rupees a month, and I may get out of job or some crisis may happen and I may not earn, but I want to maintain the same level of family expenses for at least 6 months, so I should have 6 lakh rupees in my savings. It could be a FD, it could be some other way where you can liquidate the money easily. You can get the money back from the bank or from wherever very easily. And that is the amount of money that you should save. 6 months, or if you say, no, 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 I don't know, 12 months at least, I want to be risky. Okay, 12 months, so 12 lakhs. So that's the limit. So that is still where you should save and then stop. Isn't that a good way to understand how much to save? And why I want you to limit yourself on saving is because saving a money in a fixed deposit um, actually degrows your money. What do I mean by degrows your money is, if you save an X amount of money for, say, 5 years or 2 years, in spite of the compound interest that you get, many a times the total amount that you get after 5 years is worth lesser because of the inflation rate. Yeah, the cost of living goes on increasing, and a lakh of rupees saved for 10 years, and 10 years later you get somewhere around, say, five times of it, two times of it, three times of it, whatever, double triple it happens, but the inflation has taken over that amount, and that is something that we have to be aware of. Yep. So saving, limit, and investment, we'll talk about it in more details as we go ahead. But there could be low risk, low return investments, and low risk, high return investments as well. And we can categorize those investments and see what is our risk appetite and decide based on that how much should I invest. Let's move ahead. Too much details happened here. Now is a question about salary. Whose salary is higher? Yeah, I want to compare my salary with a few people, and I want to check whose salary is higher. Ready? So here you go. 1970, this was my dad's salary. My dad was working in Maharashtra State Electricity Board, and he used to earn 400 rupees per month. This was his starting salary in 1970. This is mine, 1995. I started after my engineering, my first job, I got 2,500 rupees per month. This is my son's salary. In 2020, he started earning 30,000 rupees per month. And this is future. Maybe my son's son or son's daughter in 2045 gets 1 lakh rupees per month. So whose salary is higher? What do you think? And give me reasons. And don't tell me it depends. And if you say it depends, tell me what does it depend on? Yeah? 400 rupees is more, 2,500 is more, 1 lakh per month is more, or 30,000 per month is more. So, yes, it depends upon your cost of living, it depends upon what is the cost of certain things. And one of the ways of comparing this is to compare it with the cost of gold, right? So, if you look at this small table below on the screen, it says cost of 10 grams of gold, that is 1 tola as we call it, in 1970 was 184 rupees. So my dad could buy around 2 tolas of gold in 20 grams of gold in his salary. What about me? 1995 was 4,680. So I couldn't buy 10 grams. I could buy only 5 grams. That's sad, isn't it? And then you look at 2020, 30,000 rupees. 2020, the cost is 48,000 rupees. So the person could buy 10 grams plus a few more grams. So his salary is higher, my son's salary is higher in 2020. And what about 2045? I really do not know about 2025's gold price, but currently in 2025, the price is almost a lakh and it is going to grow. So this salary also seems lesser in 2045. Looking at in future, what would be the price of gold, right? So this is one way of comparing your money over the years of time. So if you had 500 rupees in 1970 or in 1995 you had 2500 rupees, how much is it worth today? And these are a few elements that we should even discuss with our kids. I do remember when um, I started my job. My dad was earning around 25,000 rupees a month, and I started with 2,500. I thought I'm doing great. And if I earn 10,000 rupees a month, that is sufficient currently. And if I reach up to dad's salary, voila, what else is required? Little did I know how much would the cost of living and the lifestyle cost also go up, isn't it? And that is something which we want our kids to understand too. Okay, let's take this discussion a bit further. Yeah, this reminds me of an activity which we did a few years back. I gave a piece of page to each one, my dad, my mom, my son, and my wife. And I kept one page for myself, and we wrote down what we think is our lifestyle cost for a month, right? And when we brought those pages together, we actually had 5 different numbers. I had calculated based on what I thought the vegetable cost and fruit cost might be because I had never ever visited any of these shopping things. My wife knew what she was spending in the house. My mom knew what she was spending for the kitchen. My dad knew how much the maintenance and electrical and all other stuff costed. And I knew about how much the EMI and insurances and other stuff is, the investment that I do. And my son knew what his school fees, college fees, and a little bit about what other expenses does he make. But when we all brought it together, we could really calculate what our family's lifestyle cost is, and we could really understand the value of money. We did start a few practices after that awareness. We pinpointed about how much percentage spending are we doing on which category of our cost of live on our lifestyle cost, and then we decided where we should go a little higher, where we can go a little lower, or is this fair, or is there a mistake in calculation, have we missed something out? Person can write something, my chocolate is 10 rupees. Yeah, You ask children in the class price of things, and you would be not surprised, but you would really become aware that children are more aware about the things they consume, they like, and their costs, like cold drinks, chips, things they eat outside, things they use in day-to-day school, etc. But if you ask them how much does 1 kg of rice cost, or 1 kg of anything else, milk costs, they are not. But they can also tell you the prices of the food on Zomato which they consume, but not about the raw materials that we buy. And that's an interesting activity also that can be done. Any teacher can give that. You don't have to be a money matters teacher to give that. Okay, let's take this further. So this is an homework activity for all of you teachers. And you thought only you can give homework? No, this is my homework for you. Okay, so when we were discussing and doing all of this about money matters and what we should do, um, we thought let's ask the parents and understand what are they interested in teaching their children. So 99% of the people that we surveyed, the parents said that we want our children to learn the value of money, that they should value money. And that's a crib which parents always have about their kids. Second, they said that we expect that they should learn some good habits about saving money. They talked about saving, but when we asked why do they want you to save money, they said we want them to be rich. And then I said that's a very different thing. You don't save money to become rich. You have different habits, wealthy money habits to become rich. So that's the second. And third, a fewer, but they also talked about they wanted their children to have a good relationship with money, a healthy relationship. So what do you mean by healthy relationship? They said neither should they be miser, nor should they be person who spends all the money totally, a very lavish thing. They don't have money, they take money on loan and do that. Not that kind of, or they shouldn't cheat for money. So we said, wonderful. So your order is our, whatever your desire is our order, and we will do that. And so we thought of first creating certain practices which we could use at home for these three things which the parents asked for. So first set of practices we designed were for value of money, and we tested it in on a lot of parents in the family. One of them was to analyze and discuss the price of things in the shopping list when you go and shop. Get the price list and you just discuss that. Second was about talking about our work. We always ask the children about what did you do in school. We do not tell our children of what we did at work and how do we make money. It really helps them understand the value of money and how much parents put in efforts. Third was the shopping list. We could have a whiteboard or a place on a wall where we keep writing what we want to buy and we keep planning our shopping list and throughout 10 days, 15 days, and then go out and buy. That really helps to understand the value of money. You'll start valuing that process. And it's a very wonderful process to do. Hundreds of families came back saying, we have followed this process and it really, really helps. Now, my child actually says, do we really want to buy this? Is this a need or a desire? And that's gratitude to those parents that they implemented these practices wonderfully. Second was healthy relationships with money, and this was very, very important, that we do not treat money as a source to become happy. And that's the reason we discussed how about defining roles and responsibilities, rights and responsibilities in the family of various members, and not putting a money tag for everything you do, like giving tips. Well, that really doesn't help. So the third point, which is here, is to incentivize good behavior in giving tips. And that's very unfair. You are really building a bad relationship with money. If I behave well, I get money. Well, you do not. If you do work, you get money. If you perform, you get money. Not to behave in the real world. And in the family, we should not practice that. And second is celebrate birthdays and important occasions without any gifts. So gifts or money shouldn't become a source of happiness or celebration. And that's a very important relationship with money. Many a parents found it difficult to use these three for their own convenience and because of their traditions. But slowly they also agreed that yes, we could follow these three practices. Try it out in your families too. And last, money management skills. Giving money as pocket money to children has been another taboo which we have observed. And parents say we give them everything, so why do you want to give them pocket money? And my counter question to them is, one day your child will start earning and he'll earn, God bless, 5 lakh rupees per month. And that time the money would come to his account, not your account. How will you be able to then control or manage for him? Or will he be sensible enough to understand how to use that money? It is like safeguarding your child for that day when he is behind the wheels of a wonderful car which can speed up to 200 kilometers in 10 seconds and is on a highway, and you say today is day one, go enjoy. Well, that's the riskiest thing. You should help him first learn a bicycle, a tricycle, then a scooter, then a car, then on the roads and on a highway, supervising, and then this. That's the right way, right? So start today with pocket money. And there are certain practices which go along with giving pocket money. It isn't giving pocket money and say, Jo karna hai karna. And that is a part of our curriculum. Then is daily spending diary to maintain. Need not be a diary nowadays, could be an Excel file, could be an app where everyone puts in what do they spend. And that becomes a very interesting thing where your child becomes the CFO of your house, chief financial officer, yeah, the accountant of the family. And last but not the least is using piggy banks for goals, and not just using piggy banks to save money and then put it in a saving account. No, no. I mean, that is a good goal, but not a great goal. A better goal is that we decide that we're going to do a family dinner outside maybe a month later, or we're going to celebrate some birthday and we are putting in money. And slowly on that day, when we reach to that amount, and if you don't reach to that amount, what happens and how do you really celebrate? Or if you don't want to celebrate, you want to use that money to go and give it to someone, to donate or to help someone, even that is fair as a whole. So these are those 9 practices which really helped parents. But parents are greedy like me, I confess. So parents asked us, why don't you teach teachers? And why doesn't this curriculum go to schools? What all should we do? Can't schools do it? And so we moved from practices for parents and kids to schools. And that is where the invention of concepts for primary and secondary came into place. Remember these 5 pillars? Yeah. And for every pillar, we identified some age appropriate topics. 25 such topics we identified for primary, for what age appropriate means and how, and what should be and what we shouldn't in each of them. And then we went ahead to do it for secondary. Said, let's look at the elder, the teenagers. And then we had 25 topics for them as well. Now, these topics do not come just from our head, but we really looked at various curriculums which are already available, various things, especially this gentleman who was the first to suggest that financial literacy should be introduced in the school curriculum. Don't know this person? Please. He is Mr. Raghuram Rajan, the former RBI governor. Right. And uh, with his efforts, an organization came up which is called as NCFE, National Curriculum Financial Education in India, plus National Center for Financial Education in India, plus OECD, which is an international organization. And studying their curriculum, their things, we came up with a 6-level curriculum. 6 levels, and every level would have 7 chapters. And this is all spiral from level 1 to level 6. Yeah. So if level 1 has mine and yours, so from mine and yours, go to understand begging, stealing, robbing. Level 3, we understand what is ours, and then level 4, we understand rich, poor, and middle class, and so on. Very similarly, if you look at chapter 6, the horizontal one, saving money is the first thing in level 1. Then we go to pocket money. How do you use pocket money? Then family piggy bank. Then we go to banking system, and so on upward. So it's a spiral curriculum in chapters. So this is the broad thing which we really looked at. And then we thought, if we are going to teach this, we shouldn't teach it based on our own thought process. We should put the content percentage wise. And that is where we really tried to balance the percentages. We thought earning, spending, system, savings, and investment should be balanced. And we tried to balance it in various ways. And then we looked at NCF guidelines and we thought our pedagogy should be in sync with NCF guidelines. So we brought in experiential learning, we brought a balanced pedagogy between direct teaching and exploration because they are students, right? And at at their level, they also want direct answers or direct things. They just don't want question, pick question, and question on question, like just not inquiry. We tried to balance the pedagogy. We integrated values in it of critical thinking, rational, and other values. We had format assessments and we built how we can observe the progress to happen. And last but not the least, community engagement. So, parents, family members, experts, all should get involved in it. Yeah. So, this was the thought process which came from NCF. Then, what else? Then we thought, let's get deeper and create a curriculum which touches Kash. Yeah, that is knowledge of various concepts, build an attitude, build skills, and build habits. So, our sixth level curriculum, which is from level 1 to level 6, as you see in the pictures, is to develop holistically the child, the knowledge, the attitude, the skills, and habits about money. And now let's get into the deeper aspects of it. The 5 pillars of money, you remember earning, saving, investing, spending. These are there in all the levels. Starting with level 1, where you look at these 7 chapters, and this is available in your books as well. And the right side, which you see as the 5 things, these are the outcomes. We want the children to discover and respect family members and friends' qualities. We want them to make a process and rules of sharing toys and books with friends. And this is something which they actually do hands on, which they experience. So they don't learn just concepts, but they learn it experientially. And from level 1 to level 2, things change, outcomes become heavier, they become better. And then from level 2, they go on to level 3, and 3, you have 7 more chapters, which you saw earlier, and the outcomes are different. Look at it here when you say you create and present a presentation on caution to take while considering discounts and offers. So, this is what the children actually do. They research and differentiate between low paying and high paying jobs, real outcomes, right? And this is what, as teachers, we give them as assignments between chapters to do. And these are all related to the chapters which are in there. So these 3 for the primary, and then we go to secondary, level 4. We talk about create family needs and desires list based on rich, poor, and middle class, or we prepare a plan and list of unused items at home, which can be either sold or rented or donated or scrapped and not kept at home. Imagine how good a project this would be. And they can click pictures and they can bring back after the vacation or before, whenever you wish to, teachers. It's your prerogative. And then level 5. Level 5 is a few more chapters. Now the children are elder, they have started understanding. So they discuss and create family rules and regulations. They create a monthly budget and analysis the expenses of the month. See how wonderful is it? They write checks and they do online banking and shopping with their parents under the guidance of their parents. They are already doing it, by the way, but yes, that's also a project that we bring in. And finally, in level 6, they are now trying to bring in additional talks about business. So they get an outcome of survey and prepare a report on various businesses around you. Interesting, isn't it? They, they actually go out, they look at various businesses, they categorize them, and they put up a number and then they present a report. and they bring in certain insights. And various students, when they do it and present it, it becomes a awesome thing. So these are the six pillars, and no, sorry, these are the five pillars, and these are the six levels of our learning which happens in the Money Matters curriculum. Now, this was broad. So let's go a bit deeper into it. When you're looking at the deeper, just a small revision, 7 chapters per level, 28 to 36 sessions or periods required for this chapter. That is around 4 to 5 periods max. 3 periods is a little less, but around 5 periods is good. One book they get per level, and now we get into the chapter. Every chapter has a pre-work and a pre-read. Every chapter has an in-class work, a post-class work, and a small assessment. So four things is there in every chapter. The structure is same, right? Now let's look at these in chapter things in detail, which are going to be a part of your daily work. So we start with the index, and the index has what the outcomes fully identified, right? They have been written there of the questions or things that should be achieved. From that index, we now get into one chapter. When we get into a chapter, there are various types of pre-class work. Now, what is a pre-class work? A pre-class work is based on the flipped classroom approach, which I learned during my B.Ed and M.Ed, that you could give students certain things to read on their own. And when they come back to class, we do activities based on what they have done, the pre-class reading or work which they have done. And we thought that was a very interesting thing to use. That in the class, we do a lot of practical stuffs and activities, and all the concepts and readings happen at home. And ideally, this should work. But practically, we have to put some efforts even in pre-class work. But the thought of a pre-class work enables the child to do a lot of self-learning. It gives the responsibility to the child that take ownership of your learning. And with a little effort, a little nudge, over a period of 5 years now, we have observed that students have started doing it themselves. In fact, certain students love it so much that they do all the pre-class work of all the chapters even before the chapters are taught. So it is not a homework. It is before the chapter is taught. So they say, so what? I can finish it in the first 1 or 2 months only and keep all pre-class work ready. Yeah. Okay, let's come back. So what is there in pre-class work? In the first pre-class work, one of the examples here which you can see is narration. So what is narration all about? So narration is a small thing, a small um, text with some pictures which is given, which the children can read at home. Our teachers are very kind. They actually read it in the class and then they say, go and read it with your parents, and it's fair. When parents get involved, they talk about it more. As teachers, we can spend a few minutes on the pre-class work and underline a few words which are difficult to understand, or where you feel that students need more information. And that's one of the narrations of pre-class work, which even parents who really want to get involved do this very wonderfully with the kids. Second is a role play. And what is a role play? Here you see a role play. Role play is where there are multiple people and then you have a discussion that is happening, you have a dialogue. And this can be done very wonderfully inviting two students or doing a think, pair, share kind of a thing. So pair up the kids and say, you are this, and you talk. And there is a lot of energy, there is a lot of excitement, a lot of chaos in the class. Yeah, but that is helpful. The kids do that, right? And then there are some questions along with it, which we'll see. And then there is stories. Kids love stories, isn't it? So small kids stories, big kids case studies or scenarios. That's age appropriate. So you get a story to read, or you get a narration or a role play, and that's pre-class work. As teachers, we spend around 10 to 15 minutes doing this, and then we put it across to the students that go and read it back with your parents. But this isn't just pre-class work. There is one more thing which happens along with it. Let me show that to you. Apart from this pre-class work, oh, there is something to do. It is just not read and come. It is to do. And look at this do thing, which is part of the pre-class work. Family and friends, you have to actually discuss with your parents which household things can be shared, exchanged with your neighbors, and write it over here and there. Or discuss with your parents the toys you can exchange with your friends and make a list and come. And discuss with your friends which toys they can exchange with you. So put the friend's name and what they have agreed. Isn't that interesting? I know what you're thinking. Not every student will do. Ah, parents will say, why don't you get it done? I know some parents would say that, not all, but this is the information that we use even in the class to discuss. And when students have not done it, and some of them have done it, and they get FaceTime with the teacher, and they get a pat on the back from the teacher, the student who has and this is practically true, this is psychological. Even in the class of 32 or 3 start doing it, by the end of chapter 3 or 4, if you do this pre-class work discussion in the class, 50 to 60% of the students start doing it. Please do not aim to do 100%. Families have their own responsibilities, priorities. Sometimes some of the students may not be able to open the book at home, or parents may not be ready capability wise, aptitude wise, attitude wise to do certain works. So that's a diversity which we will have in classroom, and that's what we should accept as practical reality. Yeah. But even if 50-60% of the students are doing it, it's a very wonderful sharing that happens, which even a person who has not done it learns in the class to understand from various perspectives that is happening in the classroom. So what we are bringing here is perspectives from the families, experiences from the families in the class. Look at this. This is a pre-work where neighborhood is required to be tapped, right? And this could be done even virtually. They don't have to really go and travel, right? They can talk and they can get this filled. This is for senior classes, right? Budgets, and they have the category, and then they think and what average amount and what it is, etc., etc. Right? They can search for some new few mobile apps which can help them find some daily expenses, and they can do that. Business working professionals, they can go and interview them, talk to a few salaried people, talk family members, and discuss what do they think. If they find this space is less, they can use additional pages, and they can put it in their rough book or a notebook on money matters, and they can fill all of it there. Yeah. So this is pre-class work, and pre-class work is where the community comes together, and this is what we want. They become so wise discussing all of this is when they come back to class and share, and when the teacher asks them, how did you feel doing this, what were the challenges, um, what insights came to your mind, what was something new that you learned while doing this, how did you prepare to go and do this. These are the questions which really are reflection questions on their experience to help them become wise. Where do these questions come from? How do we get a list of questions? Well, these are generic questions which are questions for reflection on any experience, which helps create insights. There are various tools. One of the tool is the 5W2H: what, where, when, why, who, how much, how many could ask. There are tools like ORID, where you talk about observations, you talk about reflections, right? You talk about what was their feelings, what were the thoughts or what analysis they did, and what actions they want to do. So that's another framework. And we could have various different frameworks which we could use. So what happened? So what? And what next would you do? So you did something. So what happened? So what did you feel? What did the other person say? How many people said, no, not now? So what did you feel? So what would you do now? Right? So simple things which help them think about their feelings, about their thoughts, about what is happening inside. And that's what we want to build. That's how we would build them to become wise. Interesting, isn't it? So this is pre-class work. And from pre-class work, then we come to in-class work. Now, what is an in-class work? In-class work has a lot of activities and debrief. So let me take this example of the first in-class work. Story. So you have a story, you have information, you have income of Sudesh, Rajesh, Dev, and there's a complete structure which is there. And we as teachers spend a couple of minutes here, ask them to think about, or in fact, create a mind map about this on the board of who is where and click those lines as uh, family tree you can create and then write down how much income and what type of income. It becomes a very wonderful thing on the board. And then once you have these debrief questions. So in classwork, you have a lot of questions available for every activity. And these debrief questions are slowly tending towards higher order thinking. So they really do not just talk about the what is there in the note. Like what is the total monthly income? Yes, that's a calculation to be done. How many are earning members? Yes, a calculation to be done. Now, when we go ahead with what are the advantages and disadvantages of having so many earners in the family. And that is not mentioned here. That's a thinking which they have to bring in. What are the advantages and disadvantages of family which have only one earner? Compare and contrast between the incomes of these families. Now, this is higher order thinking which happens in the classroom. The discussion happens. Teacher makes a list of it on the board, brings in her wisdom, agrees, listens to a lot of divergent thoughts, may not agree to all, but makes a list of it, acknowledges all divergent thoughts that come up. If there is an answer which comes up which sounds silly to other students and the students start laughing, the teacher stops them, writes that point on the board, asks a question to understand the thought behind the answer that the child gave, acknowledges that the child might have had an experience through which that answer has come up, and moves on and let the group decide what they want to pick up from there. That's how you use the activity and the debrief. Activity and the debrief. Yeah. So this is one of the in-class works that we are looking at. Let's look at one more. This is a role play again in an in-class work. You get two students come up and talk, or three or four, or you get a couple of students in small group work around a table and then they talk and then they have debrief questions. And on these debrief questions, a discussion happens within the smaller group, and then you ask them to give their answers to the main group. So first individual work, that is mono, then small group work, that is mini, and then full class work, that is mega. So you follow a mono, mini, mega this time. Cooperative learning, yeah. So you have the child write down their answers themselves and then discuss among the group, agree to certain answers. Maybe there's a disagreement. They write down what is disagreement, may have certain common answers, may have some unique answers. And then as a teacher, you facilitate, you get those answers on the board and you ask questions which are leading questions or questions which are more inquiry questions so as to expand their thought process, not to challenge their answers, but to help them think about their answers a bit more. Add one or two things from your wisdom about the same and help them learn better. So there are no right and wrong answers. There are a few which has data inside, but otherwise it's more about discussions that happen there. Another activity. Now this time this is an activity where they would actually take a pen and mark on this and write on this, which is a global brand, which is an unbrand, which is a local brand, which is a national brand. And then there are questions along with it. So questions are the most important thing. They are not formative assessments per se, but they are questions to trigger thought. They are questions to bring attention to a certain thing. Many times these questions bring in more questions from the students. Like a question, is it necessary for Rahul to buy a US polo t-shirt? If yes, why? If no, why? So there could be different answers. And that is a discussion, a debate, which is very worthy to be brought in the class. And then you could have people writing it down. Don't convert it into a debate, but keep it as a dialogue where you have various points coming up and various reasons behind those points. That increases the perspective of the children. So this is another activity in the class. How much time do we spend on an activity? Around 15 minutes, and 15 minutes on debrief. Even sometimes the activity is 10 minutes and 15 minutes on debrief. So one class do an activity and a debrief. Every in class chapter may have one activity, at least may have two activities also. So you could do two activities or have one activity as homework and one activity as class. Now, these are scenarios. You have certain scenarios of buying patterns of customers, and then you have questions regarding those for reflection. And teachers, feel free to add your own questions. These are just indicative questions. And it really helps to have a few set of questions to make life easier. But it's always beneficial to have your own questions because that's creativity. And that makes you better than the other teachers, isn't it? Okay. Now this, a few more activities as sample. You have scenarios and reasons. You have various groups of different type. What do they say, etc. So these are all situation studies. These are all things that you could really look at as that. Just not that. After the class activities are done, you have a post-class work, like the pre-class work, but a step above. Now, this time when it's come as post-class work, whatever I have learned, they are applying, they are using it. So they're discussing with their parents and use the internet to make a list of countries where tipping is considered as insulting, right? At least three reasons why, right? Or they are going to collect as many hotel bills as they can from your family members and friends. Study them carefully if service charge is mentioned in the bills or not. Another activity is take a 7-day money challenge. Day one, you save 1 rupee. Day two, you save 2 rupees, and so on. Every day, what is the total amount in your piggy bank? They actually do it. Huh? They don't just do a maths calculation and do. They actually save the money, click a picture, and break. Yeah. So discuss with your parents on how much you need and how can they help you make it. Ask them if they can give you tips or gifts. And then with parents about desires, about what you need and what your parents' views are. So they write what their views are, and then they write what parents' views are, and then they come back and then they say, this is what my parents said, and then we help them explore various views back in the class. So a period even on the post-class work, which they do, which is after a few days, maybe in the next class when they come back. A few more examples of post-class work. As they grow elder in various levels, you get a little higher post-class work. And of course, they can use different sheets of paper, additional things to write down. They don't have to just use the space. Okay, now the assessment. The assessments are very simple. They are of 10 marks total. The child can self-assess, or you could pair up the children to look at each other's assessment. It can be an open book test, which they can give in front of you, and they can pair up to check each other's answers and give marks and sign it. Or you want to do it yourself, you do it for all of it. Yes, I have seen certain parents complain why the teacher doesn't check, the answer is wrong and yet the teacher has given it right. And all that stuff happens. But our assessment or review here is to help children summarize or revise they have learned. Yeah. So assessment in the class, which is there printed, the questions are already available. It's an open book test, just as a revision. You could take your own assessments, assignments separately for unit test and for other tests as you wished. Apart from this, there are a lot of extracurricular activities that we can do. One of the extracurricular activities, which I'll show you a small video as well a few minutes later, is A to Z Money Matter Expo, where actually students created projects and various topics from A to Z, and they demonstrated as an exhibition. Instead of those traditional science and maths exhibition, you now have a money matters exhibition, and students from other classes came and saw, and parents were invited as well to see them and ask questions and talk about it. And a lot of team building, a lot of leadership skills get developed through this work. And we have an entire document to help you execute our A to Z Money Matters. Second is holistic family learning workshops. You can get children and parents together with teachers, and we could do inter-family and intra-family discussions, just not on money, on other various topics as well related to life skills, being and the doing and the thinking of the child and how the child evolves, etc. etc. And third is real life projects, which could be research based projects where they get an exposure and an experience to various professions, business, and family economics, and they understand things about it. So, those outcomes which you're talking about, small, 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 can give you more ideas to do bigger projects as well. And now for some video fun. Yep. Let me play a video for you, which is about A to Z Expo, which we did in one of our schools, which will just give you a glimpse of it. And maybe I'll not play the entire video. You may find this in the links somewhere in the description as well.
Motivating your children with this money matter subject.
Over 100 students, along with their parents, and 10 mentors worked together as a team for over a month to prepare and present 52 financial concepts from A for audit, B for bank, C for capital gains, to X for zero currency, Y for yield, and Z for zero rate payroll. 1,000 plus school students and 200 plus parents with their children visited the exhibition. They listened to the concepts of presentation, they saw the models and the charts, they learned new concepts, discussed, and even debated. The highlight of the exhibition was the wide age range of the visitors, from the 4-year-old toddler to the 64-year-old grandparents. They appreciated the efforts of the school and the management for this initiative. They said,
students explaining me about concepts like digital currency, concepts like how a bank functions. Basically, will help them decide to when tomorrow they open a bank account, how would they operate it, whether to take loan or not. I think the journey of entire entrepreneurship goes in their mind because tomorrow if you need an investor, right, they need all these concepts.
आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स लोगों से सुनना पड़ा। मेरे काफ़ी सारे स्टूडेंट्स ने तो ऐसी ऐसी बात बताई कि हमें उसका नॉलेज था।
So I like that.
And I like that you are encouraging the students.
And it is very good for students and very innovative concept. I like that, and all students are also studied very good for their concept.
अच्छा लगा क्योंकि जो जो हम लोगों को नॉलेज नहीं है उसके भी बारे में पता चल गया यहाँ पर।
मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगा।
The concept is really very good.
It was really nice and my son learned everything about the business.
the exhibition closed on a positive note with a promise from the organizing team that this is just the beginning of making India financially literate through holistic family learning. One student, one family at a time. So that is one, and I have a few more videos for you. Not this one, this is the same. This is one of my very interesting first time students. Uh, I don't know how big he must be now, but he talked very wonderful about saving and learning, and he spoke in Hindi. Let me just show to you his experience about using the money that he gets from his parents.
जब मेरी मम्मी थी ना उन लोग को रोज का 1 रुपया मिलता था और उन लोग की कैंटीन में 50 पैसे का सैंडविच आता था सिर्फ, और 1 रुपए की कचौरी आती थी। तो वो लोग 1 रुपए मेरी उसकी मम्मी से मांगते थे रोज। तो मैंने मम्मी को बोला पहले कि मम्मी मैं पहले 45 लूँ, तो मम्मी बोली ना। मैं बोलूँ 30 लो, मैं बोली ना। मैं बोलूँ 20, तो मम्मी बोली हाँ 20 लो। तो मैं कल से 20 लेना स्टार्ट कर लिया। कल मैंने 20 लिया, अभी रोज 20 लूँगा। तो मैंने क्या प्लान रखा है, मनी मैटर्स से मैंने सीखा है व्हाट इज आवर चैप्टर में, कि आपके पास जो आएगा ना उसका पहले सेविंग करो। सेविंग इज इक्वल टू एक्सपेंस। पहले सेविंग करो, बाद में उससे जो पैसे बचेगा ना वो एक्सपेंस करो। मैंने पहले चैप्टर में ये सीखा था। तो मैं आपको भी बोलता हूँ कि आप सब बच्चों की कि ये चैप्टर बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, आपको बहुत कुछ इससे सीखने मिलेगा।
Isn't that awesome? Yeah, पहले आप spending, फिर आप ये करो and so on. One of our parents actually um, shot a small video in their home where they actually their kids role played about barter. Very interesting video. Yeah, that's a role play, but they imagine the amount of cementization of learning that happens when parents take so much effort.
हेलो भव्या। हेलो, क्या कर रहे हो? कलरिंग। वाह, कलरिंग तो मुझे भी बहुत पसंद है। वाह, अच्छी बात है। क्या तुम्हें पता है कि बार्टरिंग क्या होता है? हाँ, मुझे बिल्कुल पता है। तो हम अपनी चीजें बार्टरिंग कर सकते हैं, चलेगा? वाह, तुम्हारे स्केच पेन्स तो बहुत अच्छे हैं। थैंक यू। तुम्हारा बॉल भी बहुत अच्छा है। वाह, क्या हम इसे थोड़ी इनके लिए एक्सचेंज करें? ओके, बट हम ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें एक्सचेंज करेंगे, जैसे कि मेरी स्कीपिंग रोप, मेरी साइकिल, मेरा स्नीकर गेम, मेरा पियानो। हाँ, पर हम प्रॉमिस करते हैं कि हम उनको बहुत अच्छे से संभालेंगे, उनका नुकसान नहीं होने देंगे। ओके, थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
I really love the innocence that the students talk about. This another is Ganesh Utsav accounting. Yeah, festivals which we have and how student actually from World School put all her accounts into a place, how much money she spent. She created a project out of it, and she put up how much money was spent where, what was the budget which was there, and how did she do the planning, what was the step one, step two, step three, and then she made an actual video of it, of how much money they spent where, and that's another thing which we can have as parents' involvement and submission for us. Isn't that wonderful? Uh, Now, to come to the end of this session, is to ask if you have any question and answers that you yet have in your mind. You can WhatsApp it to me on 8507070727. Me or Alia Miss or Varinder or Natasha or any one of us from our team will get in touch with you, or we would respond back to you on a call or send you a message and find an appropriate time and talk. Apart from that, you can leave us an email. If you do not have a WhatsApp, on info@novoleaders.com, and then we can help you teach in your class more effectively and efficiently. And we would see you someday in your classroom, work with you to teach a few students. And happy learning and happy enjoying. This is Sumit Arora signing off, and thank you.